I never thought the day my daughter came into money would be the same day she threw me out like trash. But there I was, drenched in rain, staring into her blinding security lights with swollen eyes. It wasn't the weather that crushed me. It was her voice, sharp and cold, cutting through the dark. "You'll never see a dime of my money, you old witch." As she said it, my suitcase hit the driveway, bursting open. Clothes I had just folded spilled out. Underwear, socks, a blouse I once wore while watching her children. My toothbrush rolled straight into the gutter, like it knew it had no place there anymore. She didn't flinch. Behind her, a smug boyfriend, barely older than her son, stood with arms crossed, smirking like he'd just won something. The mansion, still wrapped in real estate ribbons, loomed behind them. The sold sign hadn't even come down yet. I stood silently, rain plastering my hair to my scalp, mascara dripping into my wrinkles. Her kids weren't there, thank God. They didn't witness their grandmother thrown out like a piece of trash. "You're a leech," she yelled. "I earned this. You don't get to feed off me just because you're old." My jaw tightened, but I didn't answer. Not yet, because I knew something she didn't. She'd won the lottery 10 days before. $10 million. And with that, I suddenly became an inconvenience. She used to say if we ever hit the jackpot, we'd travel together. Buy a duplex. I'd have my own space close enough to help with the kids. She even told her friends I was her rock. But once that check cleared, she didn't leave me a single blanket. I bent down and picked up my socks slowly. My hands were trembling from the cold, but I wouldn't let her see me cry. Her eyes I once kissed goodnight, stared through me like I didn't exist. "Get off my property or I'll call the cops," she said. "You have no right to be here." Those words stuck in my chest. I wanted to scream. "I paid your rent, raised your children, gave up my retirement to help you." But I stayed quiet. I wouldn't let her see me fall apart. I clutched my suitcase and stepped back. The rain mixed with dirt, turning my shoes into sludge. She thought I'd crawl back, desperate and thankful for scraps. But she made one mistake. She never looked at the name on the winning ticket. Just weeks earlier we were still a team, or so I told myself. I was cooking, folding her kids' laundry, helping with bills from my pension, no questions asked. That old, noisy house still felt like home. And we had this silly ritual, grab a lottery ticket when life got heavy. Just for fun. Could you imagine? She'd say, waving a ticket like it was magic. I'd laugh, saying maybe I'd finally get my porch swing. We didn't expect to win. That wasn't the point. It was hope, $2 at a time. We'd line the tickets up at home and pick our favorite numbers. She liked birthdays. I picked random ones just to play. "If I win, we split it," she used to say, grinning. "I got you, Mom." And I believed her. God help me. Even when she skipped out on bills, rolled her eyes at my requests, or vanished to bars after job interviews. I made excuses. She's tired, she's trying. Because that's what mothers do. We cushion. We carry. But that week felt off. She pulled away, snapped at the boys, whispered behind closed doors. I thought she was just overwhelmed again. I didn't push. Then Thursday we watched the news. A winning ticket had been sold. Same gas station we always went to. "You ever buy from there?" she asked. I told her I had, just Monday. She said nothing. Next morning the ticket was gone. Vanished. I searched every drawer, magnet, corner. I didn't ask her. I didn't want to believe she'd do it. We always played together. She promised. But promises made in comfort rarely survive opportunity. That ticket was real. And it was mine. I remember it better than what I ate that day. The man in line ahead was yelling. I just wanted milk. But the clerk asked if I wanted a ticket. "Sure," I said. "Quick pick. $2. I pinned it to the fridge with a smiley face magnet. That night she cooked dinner, poured wine, even kissed me goodnight. Next morning the ticket was gone. The magnet stayed. A dumb, grinning face where my future had been. She didn't mention it. I didn't ask. I wanted to believe in her. But then came the new shoes, the secret phone calls, the locked doors. Then she waltzed in one day, grinning like a child, holding up a check. 10 million, she said. I won. I didn't yell. I didn't cry. But I knew she never bought tickets, never had cash, hated waiting. And now she'd hit the jackpot? I smiled forced. Wow, incredible. She hugged me. Promised we were finally getting out. We, she said. But I knew we wouldn't last. Her eyes never said us. 3 days later she was gone. No note. Just silence and a missing toothbrush. I'd have thought she went to run errands if not for Mr. Frank by the fence. Saw a moving truck this morning, he said. My stomach dropped. I hadn't even heard it. I was outside pulling weeds like a fool. She didn't just leave. She slipped away. Escape. Like I was something to get away from. I checked the kitchen. Her mug was gone, the one I gave her when she graduated. Strong women raise strong daughters. Now it was just me and the magnet. I pressed my hand against the fridge, right where the ticket used to be. It wasn't a suspicion anymore. She took it. I called her once straight to voicemail. No message. I wouldn't beg. I sat down and stared at her empty chair, remembering every sacrifice I made. Watching her kids while she found herself in Arizona. Canceling my own plans for her needs. And now she had a mansion paid for with my ticket. She called it a miracle. But she never turned the ticket over. Never checked who signed it. And that was her mistake. I wasn't the woman who coddled her anymore. I was the one who signed that ticket. I stayed quiet, but I was watching. She flaunted that win on social media, Instagram, Facebook, even tagged the news. Millionaire queen, she called herself. Friends and cousins reappeared. And I? Erased. No mention of me, no gratitude, not even a photo of the house where we once lived. I didn't argue. Didn't post. I just watched. Because mothers notice. I saw everything. Her job title changed. She tagged realtors. Shared boomerangs of champagne. The boys running wild in the background. A nanny took over. One who couldn't even spell their names right. And soon, even the boys vanished from her posts. First one photo a week. Then nothing. I knew what it meant. She was slipping, overwhelmed, chasing a life she didn't earn. She didn't build that life. She stole it. And one day it would all collapse. But I didn't confront her yet. I needed proof. So I opened an old drawer, pulled out my receipts, and yes, the photo. I'd snapped it the day I bought the ticket just for fun. Blurry but clear, date, time, location. Mine. I printed it and tucked it into my coat. She may have walked out on me, but I was walking toward the truth. This time I wouldn't be erased. I didn't go to her first. I went to the gas station. Same one I'd visited for 15 years. The clerk, Ben, greeted me with a smile. Miss Evelyn, he said. Long time no see. I smiled back, though it felt strange. Ben, I said. Do you remember that ticket I bought last Monday, the one I joked about changing my life? He laughed. I remember it clearly. You joked about buying a beach house for yourself and leaving your daughter with the dishes. I didn't laugh. Instead, I leaned in and dropped my voice. The ticket's gone, I said, and now someone else is claiming they bought it. His face changed instantly. You mean that winning ticket? He asked. I nodded. I signed the back of it, I always do. He blinked, surprised. Well, damn. I can check the cameras if you want. My legs almost gave out. Could you? I asked. 10 minutes later, he took me to the back room. The footage was small and fuzzy, but there I was, my coat, my bag, gray roots poking out from under my cap, handing over the cash and receiving the slip, then digging through my purse for a pen and signing it. My name. I covered my mouth. Ben, would you mind if I recorded this? He paused, then gave a nod. Go ahead. I took out my phone and hit record. No words. Just proof. Later that day, I called the state lottery office and told them everything. When and where I bought the ticket, that I had footage, a photo of the numbers, and most importantly, my name written on the back. The woman on the line was quiet for a moment, then said, "Please send over everything you have. We'll launch an investigation. If your signature and the video match, the payout can be legally challenged." I didn't flinch. I didn't gloat. I simply asked, "Can you freeze the winnings?" She replied, "Once the investigation is official, yes." I thanked her and hung up. Then I sat alone in my small kitchen, the one she used to laugh at for being so outdated, and finally let myself breathe. I didn't message her. Didn't call. Let her enjoy her champagne in a rented luxury apartment. Because while she was spending on Versace and torching every bridge, I let the facts do what years of love couldn't, hold her accountable. And the best part? She had no clue what was coming. Not yet. But when the money stopped flowing, and the cheering turned to silence, she'd look up and realize the leech she mocked was the one holding the pen all along. The first thing she did after cutting me out and running off with the money was buy attention. Not in cash but in clout. Overnight, her profile turned into a brag reel. Designer handbags, poolside brunches, boasting about spending $10K on a single spree like it was spare change. Then came the posts about me. First it was subtle, a post about removing toxic people. Then a photo with her old friends captioned, "Finally free from leeches. Surround yourself with winners, not beggars." I read it twice. I scrolled the comments. Laughing emojis, claps, and her friend Tasha saying, "We always knew she was dead weight." Someone else chimed in, "Good riddance to that moocher. Live your life, girl." My face went hot. My stomach turned. They didn't know me. Didn't know I skipped meals so she could eat twice. That I co-signed her lease when her credit was trash. That I held her sick daughter's hand through a fever while she went clubbing to clear her mind. They didn't know what I gave because she never told them. She erased me with a few clicks. Let strangers paint me like I was nothing but a parasite. I didn't respond. I just saved everything, screenshots, captions, comments. Then I printed them out. Because while she was spending to impress, I was sitting in a lawyer's office. Her name was Dana. Referred to me by a retired neighbor who'd been through something similar. Dana wore glasses, spoke clearly, and never once asked if I was sure. She read everything quietly. My receipts, my photos, the camera stills. Then she looked me in the eye and said, "This isn't just fraud. It's theft. And you have a case." I nodded. I told her I didn't want revenge, just what was mine. That afternoon we submitted it all. By the end of the week, the lottery office confirmed it. The investigation was open, the payout frozen, the announcement delayed. Still, I said nothing to my daughter. What was the point of warning someone who was already burning the bridge behind them? Let her walk further onto that crumbling edge. Let her mock me louder while the ground collapsed beneath her. The more she posted, the more she revealed. And she had no clue who was watching now. Not anymore. She just kept going, bolder, crueler, smugger. But I didn't react. Not a text. Not a call. Not a hint. Because when someone dances in a storm they can't see, you don't yell at them to stop. You wait. While she posted quotes like, "Real queens don't ask for permission," I was back in Dana's office signing an affidavit, confirming every detail of when and where I bought the ticket. While she filmed herself flaunting her independence, I quietly sent over bank statements showing my balance before the money vanished. Proof of who I was before she stole my future. I stayed silent, and that silence became my greatest strength. Because it forced her to speak. And the more she filled the quiet, the more her ego showed, her recklessness, her indifference to anyone but herself. She began calling distant relatives. "We should reconnect," she'd say, dangling gifts and vacations like bait. People who forgot her birthday were suddenly cheering her on. And me? I wasn't jealous. I wasn't even sad anymore. I was clear-eyed. She was repeating the same mistakes. thinking love meant control. That money could wipe the past clean. But what she didn't see was that while she treated her win like a fantasy, I was building something real. A case. A future. One she wouldn't be part of. One night Dana called. The Lottery Commission officially recognized your claim. All related accounts are frozen until the issue is resolved. The payout is on hold. I sat at my kitchen table, a cup of tea in hand, soaking in those words. Do I need to inform her? I asked. Dana laughed. No. The banks will do that for you. And sure enough, 2 days later her social media went silent. No posts. No stories. No champagne. Just silence. I imagined her waking up, reaching for her card and seeing it decline. Trying again. Then panicking. But I didn't smile. Didn't cheer. This wasn't revenge. This was about my dignity. I had done everything right. I had loved her beyond reason, sacrificed endlessly, given without asking. And she repaid me with exile and shame. But now she was finally getting back what she gave me. Nothing. The state reviewed everything, timestamps, footage, every shaky pen stroke on that ticket. They didn't hesitate. We'll move forward with a public correction, the official said. You are the true claimant. She said it like it meant something. And for the first time in months I felt seen. Not as her mother. Not as a doormat. But as someone who held on to truth, even when it almost broke her. The clock in my kitchen crept past 12:18 p.m. And suddenly my phone went wild, buzzing nonstop like a jar full of angry hornets. Each vibration made the old oak table tremble, a constant reminder that the world was calling, demanding something. But I didn't answer, not a single ring or buzz. I already knew who I was waiting for. It wasn't the neighbors, reporters, or anyone looking for gossip. I just sat there, hands resting in my lap, the weight of years pressing on my chest like a stone shaped smooth by a river that never stops flowing. I was waiting for her. At 1:43 p.m. I finally picked up. Her name lit up on the screen, a name that used to feel like family but now tasted bitter like coffee burned on the pot. I answered. No hello. No checking in. Just her voice, sharp and torn, breaking through the line like glass. You stole my life, she screamed, each word cracked with panic. The kind of panic that comes when the mask you've worn for years starts to melt in public. Her voice was chaos, wild and furious, but I didn't say a word. I let her yell. I imagined her pacing, digging her manicured nails into her hands, realizing the stage she built was crumbling. You think you're smart, she spat. You think this is justice? You embarrass me in front of everyone. What am I supposed to do now? How can I face them? Her words hung in the air, shaking. I waited, letting silence push into the cracks. When I finally spoke, my voice was calm, low, sharpened by years of quiet hurt. You could start, I said, by saying thank you. The silence that followed was thick. I heard her breath catch like a hiccup of shock. For what? She snapped, her voice trembling. I leaned back, the old chair creaking beneath me. For keeping this house running for 5 years while you couldn't keep a job. For paying off your credit card 3 times without saying a word, even when I had to skip my own bills. For raising your kids while you were chasing dreams in bars. For not calling the police the night you left with a lottery ticket that wasn't yours. Your hands shaking, your eyes cold. You're lying, she shot back. But I heard it, her voice cracked. She knew. She always had. No, I said. I have proof. I signed the ticket. The security footage backs it up. I could have handled it quietly in the dark like you wanted. But you made your story loud on stage in front of everyone. So I made mine louder. That's when she broke. Not gently, not with tears, but with messy guttural sobs. Like someone watching their lies fall apart around them. You've destroyed everything, she choked, fear lacing her voice now that the truth had come for her. No, I said, voice cool. You did that. I just stopped pretending the mess was a masterpiece. She gasped, reaching for words to take control again. You don't get it, she whispered. I bought things. The house, the car, the clothes. It's all gone, right? You've taken it all. I've already donated half, I told her, calm and clear. To shelters, to single moms who fight for their kids. Not the ones who throw them away like trash. Her breath caught again, sharp like I'd hit her. You're insane, she whispered, but she didn't believe it anymore. No, I said. I'm just done being your fallback, your silent backup, your unpaid partner in a life you didn't build. Then I ended the call. No warning. No drama. Just the click of a door closing on a chapter one should have ended years ago. The silence afterward wasn't heavy anymore. It was light, like coming up for air after being underwater too long. For the first time in ages, I didn't feel like someone's mother cleaning up chaos, or a sister carrying someone else's mistakes. I felt like myself. Whole. Free. Like I'd won a game I never meant to play. The next morning, just as the sun started to rise, the ground began to shift beneath her. By dawn, her bank accounts were locked, frozen tighter than a sealed vault. The banks didn't hesitate once the fraud claim went through. Their systems lit up, red flags everywhere exposing her lies. That glass mansion she'd always flaunted online? Under investigation now, its ownership wrapped in legal red tape. The shiny convertible she drove like it was a crown? No longer hers to claim. Even her jewelry and luxury handbags, the ones she paraded like medals, had receipts, and not a single one had her name on them. Her carefully spun world was coming undone thread by thread. And I hadn't lifted a single finger. That's the truth about theft. It's like a house of cards. All it takes is a gust of reality to make it fall apart. I heard about it all from our cousin Leia, who'd only recently been dragged back into her orbit after 5 long years. Leia called me, her voice a mix of disbelief and bitter humor. She told me how my daughter, the same one who'd screamed at me just a day ago, had stormed into a boutique downtown. Her usual confidence still clinging to her like overpriced perfume. She tried to buy a silk scarf, something small to patch the gaping hole left by her public disgrace. The cashier swiped her card. Declined. She tried another. Declined again. Leia said, her face flushed, and her voice turned sharp, claiming system errors and threatening lawsuits, as if noise could change the truth. But it wasn't a glitch. It was the consequences catching up. Cold, silent, and absolute. She never thought she'd be held accountable. Especially not by me. The quiet mother who once braided her hair before job interviews and whispered strength into her doubts. She forgot I was strong too. I don't know the exact moment it hit her. Maybe it was when the official letter from the lottery arrived, the seal spelling out the truth in bold print. Maybe it was the eviction notice taped to the glass door of that house she bragged about. Or maybe it was when she sat across from a lawyer, trying to explain how her own mother could betray her, only to watch him slide a folder across the desk. Calm. Cold. Inside was the security footage, blurry but clear enough. Her hand, slipping the ticket into her purse. Every receipt traced back to me. My signature on that winning ticket in ink no one could deny. Each page in that folder was another nail in the coffin of her story. She thought money made her untouchable, a queen in a castle of lies. She never once looked back at the woman who carried her through every disaster. But in the end, it wasn't money that shattered her. It was truth. Unforgiving. Unafraid. It stripped everything away until only the wreckage of her choices remained. And there I stood on solid ground for the first time in forever. 3 days after everything fell apart, she showed up. No call. No warning. Just a desperate knock at my door, like the world still revolved around her. I didn't answer right away. I watched her from the window, hair messy, makeup smudged, wearing a sweatshirt that didn't match the image she'd sold to the world. No silk robes, no filters. Just raw, exposed anger. When I finally opened the door, just a crack, our eyes met. "Mom," she said, out of breath, voice sharp. We need to talk. I didn't move. There's nothing left to say. You can't do this to me, she snapped. You didn't know it was mine? I asked. You didn't even check. You just took it. She stiffened. Maybe I messed up, okay? But freezing everything, that's not justice. That's revenge. I tilted my head calm. You called me a leech. Laughed at my pain online. That was revenge. She opened her mouth, then closed it again. The silence was heavy. I need help, she finally admitted. There it was, not guilt, not remorse, just need. She didn't see me as a mother, only as a backup plan. A wallet. You've made your point, she added. You got the money, your name on the check. Happy now. Can we just go back to normal? Normal. The word rang bitter in my ears. Normal used to mean carrying her weight, cleaning up her chaos, sacrificing myself to hold her up. I looked her dead in the eye. Goodbye. Her face dropped. What? I didn't say it again. Just slowly began to shut the door. You'll regret this, she screamed. You think that money can buy happiness? You think it can buy peace? I paused, hand on the doorknob. No, I said with the softest smile. But it bought you out of my life. Then I closed the door quietly,